All I have to say about this episode of My Hero Academia, Shinzo is really, really awesome. I love his quirk and his character, and just the characterization that they gave him within this episode. I just have fallen in love with this character. He is just so, so cool. How is it going, guys? We are on season 2, episode 7 of My Hero Academia. In this episode, basically, the majority of it contains the Izuku versus Shinzo fight, which I just gotta say, that was a very good fight. Didn't drag on, which I really, really like, because typical shonens type to drag on their fights. You know, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z come to mind, but I like the fact that this was very contained, and it was very, just like 1, 2, 3, very powerful. Izuku is just a powerhouse with his quirk, but then also having the mental capability of Shinzo's quirk. You knew the fight wasn't gonna last long, and I liked how it ended up turning out. But then by the end of this episode, we get that very quick match. I mean, very, very quick match between Todoroki and Sero, and oh my god, I can't wait to talk about that one, because that one was just so quick. I was like, holy shit, that did not take long. But I just want to delve into Shinzo's character and the fight he had with Izuku, because I think that's the majority of what I want to talk about this episode, because Shinzo's character has been a mystery ever since he was introduced at the beginning of this season. And we knew a little bit about his character, knowing that he wanted to be in Class 1A, but he ended up making it into General Studies. But with this UA Sports Festival coming up, he was able to actually, hopefully work through the ranks to try to get a spot into Class 1A to be with all the kids learning to be superheroes. And we come to understand why it is that he wasn't able to get in, and it first comes from the fact that we finally learn what his quirk ability is. And I just gotta say, the quirk ability is very, very cool, and it just matches his overall demeanor and personality. The quirk of brainwashing. Now, I like how they're actually able to describe how his quirk works, because it's not like he can just randomly brainwash a person just at the flick of a switch, even though that is how it works. He has to get them to answer a question that he asks them, and once that happens, he's able to control them. And then it's basically within this episode that he actually gets Izuku, and it was actually teased last episode that Izuku answered a question that Shinzo asked, and thus Shinzo was able to take control over Deku's body and basically make him try to walk out of the ring. And the majority of the fight is actually, just Izuku's internal struggle of trying to break free of this brainwashing power. And eventually, it comes from the fact that we learn more about the one-for-all quirk that Izuku has, and, the past lives of people that have inherited this one-for-all quirk were able to, manifest themselves in his mind, clear his mind to a point where he's able to move 2 of his fingers, and then, have this huge air gust and explosion just break from his fingers, and he's able to break out of Shinzo's brainwashing, which I think was very, very cool. But the way that we actually delve into Shinzo's backstory and come to learn more about his character, this is what sold me on actually liking this character, and I definitely want to see more of his character down the road in My Hero Academia, because we get this flashback of him in middle school, and we see all of the kids, finding out, oh, his quirk is brainwashing, and immediately all of these students and kids with other quirks are basically saying like, oh, dude, you can get away with so much. You could be a villain if you wanted to, make people do your bidding. And all of these kids are basically just focusing in on all the bad things that he could do with this quirk. But Shinzo is basically a mirror image of Deku in a way, because he has this aspiration to be a hero, but everyone else is already categorizing him as a villain, even though Deku, in the very beginning, was just categorized as someone who couldn't become a hero. People were already doing that to Shinzo, and he looks up to all these heroes that have these very grand, physical, capable quirks, and his is very mental and actually not very flashy in a way, and it doesn't really come in handy for when he has to fight villains. And that even comes very much apparent to when he had to take the entrance exam, because everyone with physical quirks was able to take down all of the robots that everyone had to fight, but people with non-physical quirks, much like Shinzo, wasn't able to pass or defeat any of the robots, and thus is why he failed the entrance exam and had to go into General Studies. And he already knew that from the beginning. That's why he had General Studies as a backup plan. But just as a side note, as Shinzo is just fighting Deku, if you listen to the music that's playing in the background of Shinzo, it's very creepy, it's very ominous, and has like this essence of little kids just chattering and laughing. I was like, whoa, this is actually really different. I really liked it, but it was just overall really, really cool. But getting to see, Deku break out of this brainwashing control and then, overpower Shinzo, because Shinzo is not a very physical fighter, Deku is. And so once he's able to break free, he realizes, okay, I can't answer any of the questions Shinzo asks me and then just goes in and tries to knock him out of bounds. And we do get a little bit of physical activity from Shinzo, punching Deku right in the face. But then I love this little callback moment to when Deku basically throws Shinzo over his shoulder, which is very similar to what Deku did to Bakugo back when they had that test back in season 1. Very cool callback. I thought that was very cool. And even Bakugo noticed that, and he was like really, really pissed. And everyone was just, cheering for Deku. Deku ended up winning, but we ended up having this really good moment when Shinzo is leaving, and all the people in general studies are looking at him and telling him, yo, your quirk is amazing. You did so well. And not only are his classmates proud of him, other heroes that are in the audience are looking at him and saying like, yo, that quirk is awesome. You could use that to fight villains very well, control them. And this adds a different perspective because a lot of the kids back in school, kids tend to just think of the bad things you can do with quirks, but all these heroes have experience in fighting villains, and they're looking at Shinzo like, yo, this kid deserves to be in Class 1A. That quirk is very capable, very handy, and it kind of shows that, like, something down the road, I'm really hoping this happens, that he ends up getting into Deku's class, because that'd be very, very cool. But I love the little funny moment, too, of every time Shinzo is talking to Deku as he's leaving, and every time Deku answers, he ends up controlling his body just for, like, shits and giggles. I thought that was really, really funny. But then, we also have little moments with All Might and Deku, which I thought was really nice, learning more about One for All. I liked actually getting to see the personas of the past lives of the people that inherited this quirk, and you even get to see All Might's persona in Deku's mind, which I thought was very, very cool. Some funny moments here and there, but then the majority of the rest of this episode delves into Todoroki, his bad relationship with his father, and you can feel the tension as Todoroki was just passing Endeavor, and you see Endeavor just standing there. He looks like a total badass, but he's a total prick to his son, and we actually get to learn some crucial information on the fact that Todoroki is not an only child. He has brothers and sisters, but it seems that he was just bred for the sole purpose of to surpass All Might, and Endeavor is just shouting this at him, saying like, get out of your rebellious phase, do what you were born to do, which was to surpass All Might. Use both of your powers, and of course Todoroki is not going to be using his left side, the power of his father. He's just going to concentrate on using all of his mother's abilities, the ice instead of the fire, which I just think it's like, dude, like looking at that scene, you can tell that right now Todoroki has his own life planned out by Endeavor, but in the end, that doesn't make him an actual person. It's just a tool for Endeavor's gain into trying to achieve what he was unable to achieve during his life and hoping that he can live on through his son. You see that a lot in real life with parents and children, and that is very apparent within this episode. And this is just leaving Todoroki pissed, angry, and once we get into the fight of Todoroki versus Sero, the tape elbow guy, this is a very quick match. Like, Todoroki just takes out all of his anger on Sero, and we just see this giant iceberg just form in the middle of the stadium, and everyone in the audience is like stunned by this. And even Todoroki, after doing this to Sero, ends up apologizing and basically saying like, yo, I'm sorry, I was just angry, I had to yell out my anger in the best way I know how, and I just had to take it out on you. Which I feel so bad for Sero, because he was just so determined, and he was like just about to get Todoroki out of the ring with his tape ability, but then Todoroki was just not having it, which I was just like, yo, Todoroki is pissed. And what we know about this is, since Todoroki won and Deku won, we're getting that match in the second rounds. But it's not really much of a surprise if you watch the opening, because they even tease the Todoroki versus Deku fight in the opening. So overall, this episode was just really, really cool. I am really hoping that we get to see more of Shinzo and him actually, incorporated more into Deku's class, if that ever does happen, because I like to see him interact with Deku, with Bakugo, Ochako, Tenya, Todoroki. He seems just like a overall cool character, and I'd love to see more of him, but I'm just so hyped now to see the rest of the matches, but that Deku versus Todoroki match, ooh, this is so awesome. I'm getting heavy Chunin exam vibes from Naruto from this, but so far I think that this is being handled a lot better. It's not taking like so long to have these fights just drawn out and just have the length last like 3 episodes. It's like, we know these powers, we know who has the advantages, who has the disadvantages, and it's just like, you know what, we're not going to drag this out. These people are going to be fighting like their hardest, and I love that it's like just breezing through this right now. But I am so looking forward to the next matches. So I definitely want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think about this episode? Do you like Shinzo's character now after we've gotten his backstory and his quirk explained, or is he still just like up in the air for you guys? But also, what did you think of that Todoroki versus Sero match? Like, I feel so bad for Sero. So leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I am absolutely in love with this series of My Hero Academia. I just can't wait to see what else happens. And if you guys are following along with this show as well and just want to have conversations as each episode comes out, feel free to subscribe. I would love to talk with you guys because this is right up my alley with superheroes. And if you guys are fans of this, I would love to get your opinions and just hear what you guys have to say about this wonderful, wonderful series. So that's going to be it for this review, guys. I'm really looking forward to episode 8 coming out next week. But until then, I'll talk with you guys later. And remember, Plus Ultra. See you later, guys.